Let's continue to change the set at index and get at index become operator, square bracket, getter and setter function. But the first thing we need to know how to write a square bracket operator function. If you remember in 165 or 200, we introduced operator overloading function. In C++, that's a very good feature because you can rewrite how an operator you want to do. The operator can be equal sign, less than, greater than, or the example for our square bracket, that's an operator function. So you can define how you want this operator function to do. So C++ data programmer define what is symbolic operator mean and do in the context of the object we design. So object name, so this overloaded operator function, the function name is special. This function name is start from operator, then follow with the operator symbol. For example, now I want to write square bracket operator function, right? So my function name is operator, continue with the square bracket. So that's I will write square bracket operator function. So then when you see here, when I have my array, I pass in the index 0. The compiler will see that's the object associated with the square bracket. So on the other hand, this 0 will be considered as the parameter argument. So that will be in the parameter list. Okay, so they will look like this way for compiler's point of view. So on the other hand here, if I want to write operators, setter function first, because earlier we see our square bracket function, we have setter and getter, right? So let's do the setter. Let's do the setter first. So setter without the const keyword. So the first thing, what your function prototype is. Okay, so how you will define that. So here, actually, I already give you the function prototype. So the function prototype, one thing is your function name, right? Function name is operator plus the square bracket. So then you see index, we will pass in by the parameter. So this index data type is int. So I call the parameter variable name is index. So the most important thing is what? You have function name, you have parameter list. Then I know here you feel weird. This one actually is the return type. So you can see the return type is what? It's int reference. Why int reference? You need to see here. Okay. So here is operator function. You see earlier we show you. Even they look like this way, but compiler will read like this way. Okay. So when you want to use this operator function, want to assign something on here, because you only see out, you get the value. But if we want to assign something, that's the setter function for, right? So you see your function is on the left hand side. Then you need to assign this value to a location. Be careful. You want to assign a value. You cannot assign a value to another value. You see 5 cannot equal to 5. So when you have this function, you call this function, but you assign the value to this location. That's the return type. So that's why this value need to save in the same data type location. So I assign int. So then here on the left hand side, the return type from the operator function should be the int reference. Int reference mean what? Int reference mean I go to a int variable location, the memory location. That's the reference mean. So the function return need to return a variable, but it have to be a reference. So that's why they can assign the location. You still feel a little weird, right? But let me show you the implementation, then you will understand. You see here. Okay, so this one will be our square bracket setter function without const keyword. So I have my class name, function name, parameter. Okay, so then like earlier we said, this operator function, I need to assign the value, right? But also I need to do the index range check. Okay, so if the index is out of bound, I need to return something. But if not out of bound, I just return my location, right? Okay, so I want you to see here. I return the array index location. You see here, if I don't have the reference keyword, they will become what? They will become integer. So when you return a variable here, but they return type if they are int, right? That means they return by copy. They will only return the value here. But no, here, don't return value, because if you return the old value, for example, here is 5. Can I assign 100 to 5? No. So that's why you return the variable, you need to return the variable location. So that's why I can update the new 100 to that old location. So then my value 9 can be changed. So that's the reason for your setter function. You need to have the return int reference. Okay. So this situation, if the index is not out of bound, we understand that, right? But now, how about index is out of bound? Okay, so if out of bound like here, right, is -1. It's -1, you want to assign 5. Okay, do you really have the index -1? No, I don't have. So actually, user give me the wrong index. Honestly, supposedly I don't need to do anything. But here I implement this function. When I handle the out of bound, because the return type is integer reference, I have to return something. And also I cannot return constant number. So then actually here I really need to return a variable. Okay, constant number doesn't have location. So that's why here, when I need to return a variable, what kind of variable I need to return? We need to create another variable. This variable is the integer data type, can be any name. We just call them dummy. This dummy should be defined where? This dummy should be defined in our array definition. So here actually this int dummy is defined in here before the array. Okay, or after array, doesn't matter. The dummy should be a private data member. Okay, so then after you have dummy here, right? So right, dummy, after you have the dummy, so then you need to have the dummy. Yeah, you can either define the dummy equal to 0. So we give the default value in the constructor. Okay, so after you define the dummy in the array definition, then you assign the value in the main the constructor function. Okay, so then you see here the updated square bracket setter function will look like this. I return reference. I have my class name. I have my function name. I have the parameter. So then you see if out of bound, I return dummy. I return dummy just what? I just make my program won't crash. But a -0 equal to 5. A -1 equal to 5. Actually, I really don't care. That's dummy location assigned to 5. Okay. So then this one is out of bound, I return dummy. But if not out of bound, I just return the location. Okay. So yeah, if I return location, you can see here. When I have an A9, I assign 100. So I return the A9 location. So 100 can be assigned to that value. So that's our square bracket setter function. Yeah, so then we finish the setter function. Then that's our last one. So getter function actually will be a little easier, because getter function, they will still have the same operator square bracket function name. We still have the index we need to pass. Because that's a getter function, I put a const keyword. But getter function is a little different because getter function sometimes look like this. Yeah, you see out something, right? Yeah, they're like this. You see out something. So when you see out, you only want to get the value, right? Did you try to assign value? No, you didn't try to assign value. So that's why the getter function here, the return type is integer. No reference, just integer. Okay? Yeah, actually they have two different ways, but now I just want you to know that can be the integer, just copy the value. Okay, so then that's your operator getter function. Okay, so then return type is int. Operator getter constant. So the same thing. If out of bound I return yeah, actually I don't care what value I return, right? I just don't want my program crash. But since that's out of bound, we give them the default value for the int, that's 0. Otherwise, we just give them the correct value. So after you understand the square bracket getter and setter function, so here actually is a kind of complete program only for these two functions. You see now your class array, you have your array value int size 10, then you have dummy. Then we have the constructor function, we have the capacity getter function, then we have square bracket getter function, square bracket setter function. Then how to implement will be like this. Okay, the difference is getter function will return a copy value. Setter function will return a mutatable reference. So this one I just want you to think. Okay, so getter function, setter function, it will take a little time for you to digest the really meaning. But I just want to show you here, the compiler uses the setter function everywhere it can. But in those cases where it's absolutely cannot using the setter, they're using the getter instead. So honestly, earlier even we show you getter function using the example like we want to print out something, right? But actually, this one is not really getter function use. All the time they try to using the setter function. Getter function actually is only used for the constant object. But this one I will talk about on Wednesday recording lecture, the next recording lecture. But here just kind of understand you do need to have a setter function and the getter function. Setter you return the reference, getter you return the copy. So then that's our first part for our array class. So then in your lab exercise, you will start implement the array class I want you to implement in homework assignment 2. But addition to class implementation, we also need to do the test driver. So that's why I will do the second part, the record lecture. Okay, let me talk about the next slide. That's the next slide is example how you have the getter function being called. Because sometimes we will share our array object by constant reference. Because we passing the array to a function, but we only allow the array is read only. So that's an immutable reference. So in this situation, for this array object pass, right? So then I can using this array to assign, not assign value because it's only passing by read only. But I can check the value. So you see here, they're using the square bracket operator function to get the array I value. But this one, because they're passing by constant reference. So this square bracket operator function, they call the getter function because the const object reference. Okay, so I hope this one can help you understand why we need to have square bracket setter function and getter function.